The Dershow.
It's unlikely that Trump will actually be able to use it as president. Maybe he will if they really rush it, but apparently it'll take several years to turn a big, enormous airplane into Air Force One, which has to have the ability to resist a nuclear attack on the ground. It has to have the ability to resist rockets. It has to be free of any possibility of surveillance with artificial intelligence. You just don't know what can be surveilled and what can't be surveilled. So that's one possibility. It becomes an object on the ground that people can use as a tourist attraction. I don't think that would raise any problems much under the Emoluments Clause because Trump isn't benefiting from that personally. It's the third possibility that raises the problems. And I think that's being taken off the table. It was talked about, but I think it's being taken off the table. And that is that President Trump would then, as the person who is in charge of or the head of or whatever, the presidential library, he would be entitled to use that plane to fly around. I think that would be difficult for a lot of reasons. First of all, the cost of operating Air Force One is monumental and much more than an ordinary airplane. And I've been on planes that size. I've had clients who have planes that are as big as Air Force One, and the cost is very, very high. But still, he might be willing to pay for it. He's a wealthy man. I think unless he then paid rent for it, unless he then paid for every trip, first class plus every trip, he would be getting a direct benefit from a gift from a foreign state, which would make it an emolument under the constitutional prohibition. Okay, having said that, I don't think anybody would have standing to challenge it. Who's harmed? Who's hurt? Who gets to bring the lawsuit? Who's John Doe? I'm John Doe. I make, $150,000 a year and I pay taxes and I don't want to see my president walk away with a $400 million jet. That's an interesting political argument. I don't think it would give anybody standing to raise that argument in court. Maybe not, maybe yes. So all in all, my legal conclusion, my constitutional conclusion is pretty much what Pam Bondi's constitutional conclusion is. That is, there is no violation of the Emoluments Clause. Certainly not if the a plane stays on the ground and is part of the library and is a tourist attraction. So I don't think there's a problem. Now, some Republicans are raising a different issue, and obviously all the Democrats are raising this issue because they would. And that is, even if it's legal, is it appropriate? I mean, this is Qatar. They have paid money to Hamas. They have given money to terrorist groups that kill Americans. Do we really want to take a gift, country to country, from Qatar? Well, that's a political issue. And it's an issue of the appearance of propriety. It's an issue of political accountability. Polls show that a lot of Americans, more Democrats than Republicans, but a considerable number of Republicans as well, think it wouldn't be such a good idea. Trump says, hey, guy's going to give me $400 million. I'd be an idiot to turn it down. I'm not turning down $400 million. On behalf of the government of the United States, I'm here to save us money under Dodge, and I'm here to help the United States become richer and richer. So somebody wants to give me $400 million. I'm taking it. I'm not giving anything in return, but I'm taking it. Interestingly enough, he did say today in a press conference when he agreed to take the sanctions off Syria, he turned to the head of the Saudis and said, see what I'm willing to do for you? It sounded a little bit quid pro quo-ish. It wasn't, obviously. It wasn't intended to be that. But he did say, see what I'm willing to do for you. And the Saudis didn't give him the plane, obviously. It's the Qataris who gave him the plane, and we can't generalize about all Arabs, except most of them in the Middle East seem pretty darn wealthy. When I had dinner with President Trump and the Emir of Qatar at the Baumeister Hotel in New Jersey, July 4th, July 3rd, a couple of years ago, when he was the first term he was president. President talked a lot about how rich the Emir of Qatar was, and talked about how much richer the Emir of Qatar was than he was, and you can see a little bit of envy, but better to be not as rich and president of the United States than a lot richer and king of Emir of Qatar. By the way, the Emir of Qatar is a semi-pro tennis player, very good shape and very athletic, and very humorous, and to all intents and purposes, seems like a really nice guy. His brother took us around, showed us his horses, and they took us to camel races. My wife raced a camel. Obviously, she wasn't on the camel, but she was controlling the camel from an electronic thing. Her camel did not win. But the Emir seemed like a very nice guy. I don't like his support of Hamas and other things about him, but he seems like somebody who obviously plays both ends against the middle and does what's best for the people of Qatar. But hey, I guess that's his job. President Trump does what's best for people of the United States. Neither is the head of the other country. So I leave it to you, my viewers, to decide whether you would advise President Trump to take the $400 million gift or not. He's going to take it. He's not somebody who leaves money on the table. You want to give him $400 million, he's going to take it. He's going to announce clearly he's not going to give them anything in return. But obviously, when a country like Qatar gives the president a gift like this, it's either in recognition of what has been done in the past, or an acknowledgement of, or a hope that something will be done in the future, or just an acknowledgement that, gee, glad you're president, and maybe we can work together to resolve the Middle East crisis. I don't see that happening, but you never know. So I think that the Democrats and Republicans who are focusing so hard on this Qatari airplane are, making a mountain out of a molehill. It's not, or a 747 out of a Piper Cub, but it's not a big issue. Certainly constitutionally, it's not an issue at all. I'm sure that there are going to be Democrats. I haven't heard what Professor Tribe has to say about it, but he has commented on the Emoluments Clause before, and so I'd be curious to whether he thinks there's a constitutional violation and whether he thinks that anybody has standing to raise it. But my view is that no, nobody has standing to raise it. It does not appear to be a constitutional violation. Certainly, if the gift is to the United States and Trump doesn't benefit from it personally, then it's not an emolument under Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. So I think we can put that behind us.